I'm here to talk to you guys about the new edition of If the Dress Fits that is officially happening this year. I'm sure you're all kind of confused as to what's going on, but I asked people on Twitter what they wanted to know about the new edition, so I have the questions here that I will now answer for you. What made you decide to revisit the book and write a new edition? I wrote If the Dress Fits in 2016, so it's been some time since then. When I wrote it at first, it was just out of frustration because of the other books that I'd read featuring plus-size characters and not feeling very satisfied with them. And what happened over the next few years after that was I sort of did some self-reflection. I changed a lot of my attitude about how I saw myself and the way Martha sort of talks down on herself sometimes. I thought that it wasn't the right energy. It wasn't the right energy for the book anymore. So I decided to revisit the story with this new edition with changes in the plot that I feel is more better suited to the characters. I didn't want to do them the disservice of keeping certain scenes in the old edition of If the Dress Fits. Next question. What new thing about this edition are you most excited about? Aside from the cover, char, the thing I'm most excited about is that this edition actually has Max's point of view. So, if you remember, the first edition of If the Dress Fits was a first-person point of view that was just Martha. I decided to throw that out the window and do it third person and alternating with Max and Martha. So you get into what's going on in Max's head during some famous scenes, and I am super excited for you guys to read that then, because my god, Max is such a flirt. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest change in the book and one I'm most excited about. Release dates, I don't know. Definitely this year. I hope sometime around June or July we can release this new edition. Don't worry guys, it's gonna come out eventually. I will let you know when it's going to happen. When do I get a copy? I don't know. Are all characters the same? Did you add anyone? Yes, the characters are all the same. So all of the members of the Agos family are still there. Max is still going to be there. What I did was I sort of changed up the roles of certain characters. Like for example, Enzo takes a background a bit in this book now. He's not the main rival anymore. There's also a new character I added who's on Max's side. And she might be familiar to some of you, but if you've seen the cover of Making a Scene, so the leading lady there is Olivia Angeles, Max's twin sister. So she's going to be in If the Dress Fits as a character that Max can talk to during his tumultuous emotions for Martha. So yeah, she's going to be there. So she's a new character. How did you survive the shoot? It's a good question. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm still alive, guys. But yes, I mean, it's fine. It's cute naman, diba? I mean, cute naman kami, diba? Okay. Any changes to the old scenes? I changed it a little, but not. I tried to stay as close to the original book as I could. But yes. The Dangwa scene is still there, don't worry. But other scenes that changed, not much. I think the big ones are pretty much the same. Oh, no, the one where when Regina and Enzo get engaged and Max and Martha go to the bathroom, I changed that. It was one of those scenes where I wasn't completely comfortable with anymore, so I had to change it, and it's better now, don't worry, there are French fries involved, it's fine. Heat level. I mean, have I ever written anything less than a heat level 3 in these last couple of years? Guys, come on! Believe in me, charot. Okay, mas maraming landian. Yes. one of the things that I realized reading If the Dress Fits Again, the old edition, was I wanted more kind of landian between the two of them. I mean, they were pretty malandi already, but I wanted Martha to be more reciprocative. I want Martha to reciprocate more to Max's outward landian, and but still not completely believe him. It's a fine line that I hope I was able to do. So yes, that is all the questions everyone asked me. Basically, this was just me telling my favorite people in the world that the new edition is going to come out soon, and I will be making an announcement for that. Also, in the live reading, I saw, based on the preview, that the live reader is actually going to read a new scene from the book that I hope you guys enjoy, and it will give you like a sort of sneak preview as to what's going to happen. And okay, that's it. I hope you're all staying safe. I love you all. I miss you all, and see you. Bye.
If the Dress Fits by Carla de Guzman. The next morning was a Sunday, and Martha lived for lazy Sundays. She turned over in bed, one bleary eye open. Morning sunlight poured softly into the room, diffused by the curtains she'd purchased especially to achieve this effect. It threw shapes over the sheets, made pretty patterns against the wall opposite her bed. She stretched her arms over her head and twisted a little. She loved days when waking up was a slow and easy process, when there was absolutely no rush to be anywhere or do anything, like taking a moment to listen to your favorite song. They said rainy weather was best for cuddles, but Martha greatly disagreed. Mornings like this was cuddle weather for her, when you wanted nothing more than to stay in the arms of the one you loved, too lazy to move or get up, just because you wanted to be held close. She had fantasies of mornings like this all the time, except in her fantasies, she wasn't alone. His face was never clear, but the warmth and love in the faceless partner felt clear as day to her. They would lie in bed on mornings like this, her head on his chest, his hand on the small of her back, as he spoke to her in deep murmurs that made her feel sexy and beautiful. Then they would wake up, and that soft morning light would follow them in every part of their imaginary house. Martha would hop up on the kitchen counter and talk to him while he made breakfast. She would wear his ratty pambahay shirt and nurse a cup of coffee in a red mug, just like those commercials she saw when she was a kid. But then, of course, the illusion would shatter, because any shirt of her imaginary boyfriend's that she would wear would have to be 4 sizes too large for him to fit her. She couldn't just hop up on a kitchen counter, and there was no way she could drink coffee without eating first, because acidity is real. Martha sat up, greatly disappointed, the spell broken. And now that she was up, her real Sunday could begin. Sunday was Capra's family day, which meant going to church in the morning, then off to lunch. It was all part of a routine she loved so much. But before any of that could happen, she needed to call someone first. She picked up her phone. As usual, the person on the other side of the call took a few rings to pick up. A deep, rumbly voice hummed, and Martha's entire body stiffened in surprise. She placed her hand on her chest, remembering her little fantasy, that feeling of safety and warmth, and tried to push it aside. But fantasies were stubborn bastards, and now the man in her fantasies took the face and shape of Max Angeles, her best friend. It wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. "Max?" she asked hesitantly, like she couldn't believe he had managed to produce such a sexy sound without opening his mouth. "Yes, gorgeous," he joked, his voice still rough and velvety, the exact same voice Martha was just fantasizing about moments ago. You're back. Good morning. I missed you." He must have heard her voice lodge suddenly in her throat because he laughed, the sound slightly muffled. How did he make that sound so warm? Like all he was waiting for was for Martha to snuggle up under the covers with him. Not that they were going to do that anytime soon, but... "Martha?" he asked. Clearly he found all of this amusing, and Martha huffed. He was teasing her. Of course he was. "I woke you," she said. "Sorry." "It's never stopped you before," he teased. Why was his voice all low and husky? Was it always like this in the morning, or did she just not notice before? "Welcome back, by the way." He didn't reply in my text. "Pasalubong po." His American accent was still pretty thick. But Max could converse in Filipino and English easily. He'd once explained to Martha that while Filipino was much better for certain things, punctuating my sentences with charot has changed my life. He was much slower at it, as he had to translate from English in his head. Having grown up in the States, he understood Filipino at home, but hadn't been able to fully speak the language until he moved to Los Baños, then Manila after college. "Pasalubong. Pasalubong," Martha snorted, rolling her eyes. "Joke lang, I wouldn't forget you." Her words lingered in the air. She didn't usually say things like that to him. Hell, she didn't say things like that to anyone at all. But it had been the truth. Max was part of her life, part of her Sundays, and part of her random days. But her words had lingered in the air a little too long, and she wished to God he would say something, anything in response. "Oi! Wookie, my bedsheet!" In the background, she heard a dog barking and the sheets rustling, and she could picture the scene exactly. Max, face down on the bed, while his golden retriever, Wookie, pulled his sheets away, demanding attention from his father. Martha giggled, the tension from the moment dissipating. Good to know that his dog had her back. From her position in bed, Martha reached out to lightly scratch BB's fur, where he was snoozing against her stomach. "Your son's awake," Martha joked. "Before sunrise, he's your son," Max grumbled. Martha didn't realize until much later that he was actually quoting the Lion King. All right, buddy, I'm up. Now give me the bed sheet back, please. I'm freezing." "Quit complaining, get dressed," Martha told him, grinning. "Quit smothering me," he complained. "Oh, you love it," she teased. "I'll see you at lunch." "Always. What culinary delights await me today?" "We're having lunch at Hapag at South Triangle Mall. Please try not to be late." "Do or do not. There is no try." "Huh," Martha said thoughtfully. "I understood that reference." Then they both laughed before they hung up. If the Dress Fits by Carla de Guzman.